Let's go now to our focus of the day, missing children. The Joshlin Smith case has brought the issue of missing children to the fore again. It's difficult to say exactly how many children go missing in this country, but according to Missing Children South Africa, a child goes missing every 5 hours. But many say this is an underreport and a mere handful of cases have been resolved. We are joined now by Dr. Shaheda Omar of the Teddy Bear Foundation. Dr. Omar, thank you so much for joining us. Very alarming stats when it comes to this. But I want us to begin with definitions because they sometimes get conflated here. And it's important that they don't get confused between human trafficking and human smuggling and other forms of irregular migration. What would the difference be between human trafficking and, say, human smuggling?
So human trafficking is transportation, harboring, and is for exploitation and is for monetary gain. I think that's what one needs to understand, that in exchange for financial benefits, that is, whether it's crossing borders, sometimes not always crossing borders. I think that's what one needs to understand, that human trafficking can happen in the same place in which one actually resides in. We had cases where children were transported every night from a township in an informal settlement in a combi and brought back early hours of the morning. And that constituted human trafficking because it was transporting, it was sexual exploitation, and there was financial benefits by the people that were actually taking these children out. So that is trafficking. But you're talking about illegal smuggling, and that's crossing borders. We're talking about border crossing, where people are obviously brought unlawfully, often, not sometimes, undocumented individuals brought into the country for purposes of exploitation, domestic servitude, and working. And I think if we just look at the whole mining saga that we experienced in the past year, that would also be part of illegal smuggling.
And also speaking about illegal mining as well, we've also seen in the past couple of years as well that children are also being used in such illegal operations too. And how big of a problem, because we're saying we don't know exactly how many children are missing in the country, but that stat that says every 5 hours a child goes missing is very concerning indeed. What is it about specifically child trafficking that the authorities aren't getting right?
Well, I think with child trafficking, if we just look at the systemic challenges, firstly, law enforcement does not have the capacity. They are underskilled, they are under-resourced, and the lack of specialization in responding timeously, speedily, and appropriately. So that's a huge challenge because from the time of reporting till the case actually gets followed through and investigated, there are huge delays. And we know that the first hour is critical. And with trafficking, hands change so rapidly that it's so easy for a child to be undetected and not traced because of the time challenges. I think that's one of the things that we also need to look at. But if we're looking at border crossing as well, I think it's also scary that our borders are so porous. And unfortunately, it's so easy to cross back and forth. And we find that a lot of illegal adoptions are also taking place because of this very reason. And it's difficult to prove beyond reasonable doubt that there is child trafficking occurring in this situation. But these are some of the challenges that we are currently faced with because of the lack of documentation as well. So children are brought through and they're not accounted for. Nobody can account for them. And if they go missing, unfortunately, brought from another country, they're still a child. But unfortunately, they are victims of child trafficking.
Yes, certainly a multi-pronged approach is what's needed here as a solution. Dr. Omar, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us this evening. That is Dr. Shaheda Omar of the Teddy Bear Foundation.